Right for Canada, thanks for watching. I got news for you from the right. Not the right politically, right as in opposite from wrong. That's kind of how I think, and I think you all will probably agree with me a little bit at least as we go through some stuff. Liberals, they take from us. It's kind of an old-fashioned pillage and plunder. I mean, that is what they do. I mean, they can't give stuff away free unless they get it from someplace, and they take it from you, and they take it from me, and they give it to other people, and they call it, I don't know what they call it. They call it government stuff, and so many people get confused and say that's just government stuff. It really isn't, because there isn't a government. The government is you. The government is a taxpayer. Sounds confusing. I'm confusing myself, but I think you get it. And to be left-wing, to be a liberal, to agree with that stuff, it's simple, because it's the easiest path, right? I mean, you have to think a lot to go past that. It's easy to be a socialist. It truly is, because someone comes up and says, I'll give you this. It's kind of like, it's easy to be a spoiled child. Go up and give the child everything that some people would say the child shouldn't have given to them for free. And it's easier. It's a path of less resistance. And again, you don't have to think a whole bunch. So I think to save the country, we have to think. That's what I think. What do you think? We have to think. We have to act. It's our time. We need lessons, too, from the U.S. election. So say the Liberal government. They're saying, we saw what happened in the U.S. in the presidential election in 2016. Social media played a big role with regards to foreign interference in that election. The Russians fixed the election. And this comes from the Democratic Institutions Minister, Karina Gould, whatever. I don't pronounce things very well, but she works for you. She's a Canadian minister. Who ever heard of a Democratic Institutions Minister? Good bloody grief. But we have one of those in our country, and that's what she said. Now let's kind of drill down on that a little bit. Do you really think that the Russians can influence how you vote? I don't. Is a Russian going to tell me, how does he brainwash me? I don't get that. I mean, I kind of every morning read the papers. Sure, I do, but I don't believe everything I read. You don't either. None of us do. We kind of go through life using our mind, like the Chinese cook once said, use noodle up here, not the noodle in the bloody soup. How dare they insult us every day by telling us that some guy that doesn't even speak my language has the ability to influence me how to vote? I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second. It's just more fluff. And that's what liberalism is. And that's the government in Canada. It's all fluff. They're always doing stuff that doesn't need to be done, and they're telling stuff that doesn't need to be said. It's all about activity with no achievement. I mean, at least the Ukraine now has elected a new president who was a former comedian. And you know what? Canada, we're just governed by fools and clowns. At least there they have a comedian that he says he's a comedian, and everybody kind of knows that, you know, it's time to spend Canadians' money in Canada instead of everywhere around the world. And Trudeau, he weakens Canada and Canadians every day while trying to strengthen, and he is strengthening, other nations. And it's all about how he thinks. He thinks that he's part of the world, right? And he should be, I guess, but first you're a Canadian. But he actually calls himself a citizen of the world, and he wants Canada to be a post-national state. And he's acting on those words. I mean, that's just wrong. It's totally wrong. He hasn't asked Canadians. He's restructuring Canada. And he's doing a good job of it because we're not paying attention. How do you pay attention? He has a majority in government. The good news is that there's an election soon, and we can get rid of this guy because he's destroying Canada. He doesn't want it to be a sovereign nation. He wants it to be part of the whole world. And I guess he's looking for a place to join. He maybe wants to be on the board, I guess, of the United Nations. Everything is wrong. He's giving the country away. So if you vote Liberal, you're part of that. You're giving your country away. It's a great country. I mean, let's make it greater. Let's get it back to where it was, maybe, and even go past that. But to do that, you got borders. You got to kind of live within them. It's kind of like a budget. Hey, y'all come back. We're going to have more Canada talk for you as days go on, as we get closer to the election. And don't miss the party. Vote for the right party, whoever that may be. But we got to fix this, because right now Canada's on a very slippery slope, and we need to get it back. See ya.